2019 iPhone 11, a complete redesign, a revamp, or just an evolutionary design? Let's find out what Apple has in store. And I know, am I crazy? Is it just too early to start these leaks? I say no, because before the iPhone 10 even came out last year, we knew about Apple's plans for 2018. We knew about the iPhone 10R model over a year in advance, and the leaks have just begun for the 2019 iPhones. So I say, let's get started early and give you an idea of what Apple has planned for 2019 in the iPhone department. And do take note, with these kind of videos, things always generally change. The leaks and rumors usually do change with time, depending on the plans as they become more clear, as more leaks happen from different sources. So this is what we know right now about the 2019 iPhones, and there's actually a couple exciting things that I'm looking forward to. And before we get into any of that, guys, I wanted to talk about something that I've wanted to talk to you about for the longest time, and that's just like what situation Apple is in right now. As a company, it's not looking too well for Apple right now. Their iPhone sales are going downwards. They have reported a 0% increase in total iPhone sales this year, even with the cheaper end iPhone 10R models, which, by the way, it's rumored that Apple might be halting or slashing production on those a little bit just because they're not selling as much as they should. So Apple's not doing too well. And the reason for that is just iPhones aren't getting people excited anymore. People have older iPhones. They have no need to upgrade to the new one. There's no crazy big thing that forces them to upgrade. And people are just hard to please, first off, nowadays. But in general, it just hasn't been the same as back in the day where there would be revolutionary leaps every couple of years in the iPhones. Now, that's not really the case. And Elon Musk even commented on this. He said that Apple hasn't produced something exciting for a very long time and that there will be nobody lining up for the iPhone 11 when it comes next year. That's the first hint of the iPhone 11 that we've officially heard from a public figure, Elon Musk. And yes, Apple has been releasing some pretty exciting products. If you really break it down, the new iPad Pros are pretty great. The HomePod is pretty cool for what it is, just too spendy. The AirPods are revolutionary, one of my favorite products. The Apple Watch Series 4, there's nothing like it on the market. Seriously, my favorite Apple product right now. So Apple's not doing too bad, but they could certainly be doing better. What do they need to do with the iPhones in order to get people excited for them again? What are they missing out on? I honestly could name you a list like this big of all the things that I want on the iPhone, things that are just stupid why they're not on the iPhone already, but Vanya Geskin puts it pretty nicely. This is what the iPhone kind of is lagging behind in compared to the modern competitors right now, Android. There's many Android phones that are already overtaking Apple in the notch design, in the technological stuff, and the excitement factor is higher than the iPhone. So I think Apple can certainly, catch up. Okay, so let's get into those leaks and rumors for next year's iPhone. What will the new iPhones in 2019 be called? I think that we have a pretty good idea of that already just from some guesswork here. The iPhone 10 naturally goes into the iPhone 11, and the Roman numerals for that would be iPhone XI, so that means iPhone 11. I think that Apple will stick to that, the XI symbols, and with the iPhone 10R, that's going to be a little bit trickier. Will it just be called the iPhone 10R2, 10RR, or 10R 2018, or just the new iPhone 10R? Like they named the new iPads? It's definitely a safe bet that the new iPhone will be called the iPhone 11 though. And Ming Chi Kuo is already dropping reports on the 2019 iPhones. And again, this is the guy that predicted the iPhone 10R in 2017 before the iPhone 10 was even out, as well as the 10s and 10s Max, the sizing and everything. So he's very reliable. And he's saying that what Apple has cooking for 2019 is the same exact model lineup structure. So they're going to have the 10R, the cheaper end 6.1 inch. It's going to remain an LCD model iPhone, as well as the high-end iPhone 10s and 10s Max replacement. So the same sizing basically. The iPhones will not change in size. It'll be the same one aside from other tech in 2019. A 5.8 inch, a 6.1, and a 6.5 inch. And a triple lens camera. It was rumored for 2018. Apple held off on that. And now in 2019, it's rumored Apple will finally release the iPhones with 3 cameras. If you look left and right to the competition of Apple, everyone has them. Triple lens cameras everywhere. There's already double selfie cameras coming out. So Apple's a little behind in that game, and indeed triple lens cameras do have some great benefits. So Apple's definitely hopping on this train. Economic Daily News of Taiwan has been reporting on it for the longest time, and they say 2019 is finally the year it happens. Ming Chi Kuo has commented on it as well, and he's also in agreement that they are working on a triple lens system. He just doesn't know when they're going to release it. And yes, Apple is improving Face ID in several ways. Ming Chi Kuo is reporting that Face ID is getting an upgrade for the 2019 iPhones, and not in a way that you think. He says that there will be a next generation flood illuminator that improves Face ID by lowering the impact of invisible light from the environment. So less interference means faster results, faster unlocking through Face ID. Right now, it still feels a little slow. It's behind in speed versus fingerprint sensors, so logically, Apple should upgrade Face ID, the speed and performance of it. But it doesn't end there. There have been a lot of rumors that the notch is actually going to get smaller on the 2019 iPhones. And I personally know a lot of people that are holding off from the iPhone 10 just because of how much they hate the notch. And Android phones, if you look left and right, are creating so many solutions trying to find a way around the notch issue. And Apple should be making it smaller for 2019. This is a rumor that's been going around for a long time, so it's not a sure thing. Me speculating, I say it's one of the biggest moot points of the iPhone right now that Apple absolutely needs to improve by making smaller or reducing. And yes, there was a rumor that Apple might remove it altogether, giving you a super clean display. That's definitely going to take some technological magic though, but I don't think it's completely out of the question. So a smaller or completely no notch in 2019. Now this is an absolute dream and I wish it would happen. ET News is saying there's a small possibility Apple could accelerate this and use their patented multi-layer black matrix display technology. What that means is they'd basically be able to have a camera with display around it. This is what's rumored for the Galaxy S10, and Apple might bring it to market with the new iPhone 11. It looks fantastic, much less of an eyesore than having a huge notch there on the top of your display. And next up, Apple's lens supplier for their cameras, Largan Precision. They've been working on this technology to make the camera on the front of your iPhone completely invisible. So they would have a black layer that goes over it that would make it indiscernible from the rest of the darkened out notch. Because right now in certain angles you can't see the camera, it doesn't blend completely. It's such a small thing, but it's something that Apple would certainly do. Just like when they place the flash in the middle of the lens, it's that attention to detail that Apple is known for, so it's very possible in 2020, not next year, but in 2020, they might use that technology on their notch or their cameras in general to make them completely black and invisible from the rest of the notch or whatever it is they're going to be using. And a Korean site, The Investor, is claiming that 2019 will finally be the year of fruition when Apple brings the Apple Pencil or an Apple Pencil-like device to the iPhone. This was rumored for 2018 iPhones, it never happened. Now Ming Chi Kuo is also saying it's a possibility that that could be coming to the iPhone. So an Apple Pencil or pencil-like stylus could be sold alongside the 2019 iPhones finally. And there were rumors earlier that 3D Touch would not be happening on 2019 iPhones. Now a Barclays analyst is saying that yes, 2019 iPhones will completely do away with 3D Touch. Apple took a step towards eliminating it with the iPhone XR, and now they could be removing it entirely for the 2019 lineup. I personally would miss that feature so much. It's so great. Why get rid of it? I try to use haptic touch on the iPhone XR. I just don't like it. I don't like waiting for the same feature that's instant on the iPhone XS. It's such a great thing to have. Why get rid of it? But it would allow for, I guess, a thinner display, thinner device. Is it worth the trade-off though? And at the heart of the 2019 iPhones, we'll find the Apple A13 chip. It's still going to be built exclusively by TSMC using a new 7nm plus structure. So it's still the same size, but they use a new manufacturing process to develop it. It's called extreme ultraviolet lithography, and it's a very difficult to explain process, but it would make making the Apple A13 chip easier. And if it's anything to go by, the Apple A12, the A12X are monsters. The A13 will be even more powerful. That's just hard to picture. Apple's development in the processors is simply unrivaled. And 5G technology, even faster LTE speeds that would be potentially faster than your home Wi-Fi network right now. So MediaTek and Qualcomm are actually accelerating their release schedules for 5G modems, making it more likely that they'd be used in an iPhone in 2019. But if you look at Apple's track record implementing new cellular technologies like 3G or LTE, they were always years behind the competitors just because they want that technology to be tried and true before putting it into their own iPhones, and it would greatly increase the demand for battery life on the iPhone. And I just don't think Apple's there. The rumor is that in 2020 they'll be adopting it, not next year. And Ming Chi Kuo did mention that the iPhone 11 will remain IP68 water resistant. So that will not change, it will not lessen, it'll stay exactly at 6 meters where Apple rated it. And in my test, it was more than you'll ever need. So I think the iPhone has reached a durability point where Apple's not going to be really working on that anymore for the foreseeable future, just because they've really attained it. The drop resistance is fantastic. The water resistance, I literally could not kill it at over 40 feet below the water. So that's going to stay at a standstill, but for sure, next year's iPhone will be IP68 water resistant. And this technology that Apple just applied for through the patent office got me really excited. It's called finger tracking in wet environments. It would make your iPhone more usable under the rain. You know, right now, I live in a rainy state. It rains all the time. As soon as it rains, your iPhone screen becomes very difficult to use. This patent would make your iPhone easier to use or more usable in the rain than previously before, potentially even usable underwater. So I'm very excited about that in the future of iPhones. Okay, so that's a lot of information to take in, but that's basically in a nutshell what we know about the 2019 iPhones. Smaller notches, potentially no notch, unlikely, but would be cool. Triple lens camera, possibly a slightly altered design, although that is not confirmed. Obviously faster, mostly under the cover changes. It's just not going to change as much as it used to in the past. Eventually, where Apple wants to go is a very exciting place, and the technology that it takes to get there, you know, it's still years away, but the iPhone will eventually be a flat slab of glass with no visible protrusions. You know, you won't be able to tell where the screen ends and the bezel begins. Until then, we're gonna have these slow, very small, slow upgrade years, but eventually we'll get there. So thanks for watching, guys. That's everything we know about the 2019 iPhones. I'll keep you updated, as always, with any leaks and rumors on that. Peace.